Broadcast 404 Live! We made it! Hi, sweet friends! This program contains strong language, adult themes, satire, and a conversation about a movie franchise that has, against everything we know about physics, lasted 25 years. It is Friday. We are tired. We love you. Enjoy the show!
And the receipt was still in the bag, Kiki, folded twice, with a phone number on the back that was not the store's. Oh. It is Friday, May 15th, 2026. Tonight, Jordana Brewster has taken The Fast and the Furious to Cannes for its 25th anniversary, which means a film series about a man stealing DVD players from a semi-truck is now, formally, in the same building as the Palme d'Or. Sports. A man flew across an ocean to play in a major championship and was docked 2 strokes before he hit a single ball. The reason was tardiness. And the Cincinnati Bengals have been informed they will play a game in Spain, and then, instead of a bye, 2 consecutive primetime games. The schedule is, per the league, a great opportunity. For whom is not specified. I'm Sloan.
And I'm Peaky. Happy Friday, my sweet little weekenders.
That is not better than the last one. This week in Cannes, Jordana Brewster arrived on the Croisette to celebrate the 25th anniversary of The Fast and the Furious. The franchise has now produced 11 main films, 3 spin-offs, and what Universal Pictures classifies in internal documents as, quote, the next one. The next one is the final one. The final one is titled, per the press release this week, Fast Forever. Fast Forever.
Had such a hopeful title.
It is the 11th film in a franchise. The first film was about street racing in Los Angeles. The most recent film involved a car being driven on the surface of an actual planet. The franchise has, across 25 years, gradually escalated from fast car to car as celestial object. There is no further to go. Hence, forever.
I think it's beautiful that they kept going.
They did not keep going, Kiki. They kept being paid to keep going. Those are 2 different verbs, and the difference, across 25 years, is approximately $7 billion in box office. Brewster, who has been in every film since the first, spoke at length about the cast's relationship to one another and the franchise's relationship to its late co-star, Paul Walker, who died in 2013 in a single-vehicle accident at the age of 40. She said, quote, "We've all got each other's backs, no matter what. We've all got each other's backs."
That's the franchise's whole theme, Sloan. It's family.
It is not family, Kiki. It is a contractual obligation. They have all got each other's backs because the option clauses in their contracts require them to have each other's backs through the next 7 sequels, regardless of personal feeling.
That's still a kind of family, Sloan.
The Paul Walker tribute, which is the emotional center of the press coverage this week, is genuine. Brewster, Vin Diesel, and the rest of the cast have, by all accounts, carried Walker's memory through 12 years of films with what appears to be real care. Brewster told Variety, quote, "We don't film a single car scene without thinking about him." That is a sentence that means something. The franchise built around it is the part doing the heavy lifting.
That's so beautiful.
The final film, Fast Forever, will reportedly include a sequence honoring Walker that the cast has refused to describe to press. Brewster said, quote, "You'll see it. We're not telling you what it is. It's ours until it isn't." That last sentence is the most interesting thing she said all week, and nobody is quoting it. It's ours until it isn't.
Sloan, are you okay?
I'm reading a quote.
You're reading it twice.
The final film begins production in September. The budget, per industry estimates, is approximately $340 million. For context, that is more money than the gross domestic product of the country of Tuvalu. The film will, in 2 hours and 40 minutes, spend the entire economy of a sovereign nation on, presumably, a car doing something a car should not do.
5 Tuvaloos.
Do not make that a unit. Brewster asked at Cannes whether the franchise had any regrets, said something I want to read carefully. She said, quote, "You spend 25 years driving the same cars with the same people, and at some point the people become the road. You don't drive on it, you drive with it. We were the road.
Oh,
We were the road."
that's really moving, Sloane.
It is also the single most expensive sentence ever spoken about a film franchise about car theft.
I think both things can be true.
I am letting you have that one.
Thank you, Sloane.
Fast Forever is scheduled for release in summer 2027. Universal has, per internal projections leaked to industry press, modeled 3 different box office scenarios. The lowest scenario is $600 million. The highest is $1.4 billion. The middle scenario is described in the document, and I am quoting this directly as, quote, "What we owe Paul." A multinational entertainment corporation has put on a budget projection slide the phrase, "What we owe Paul," as the label for the scenario in which the film makes $1 billion. That is the actual story. The grief has a number on it. The number has a name on it. The name has a column in a spreadsheet. We are now, as a culture, doing accounting on each other's dead.
I think they meant it nicely, Sloane.
They probably did. That is the part that bothers me. We will continue to monitor what gets labeled in which column.
And speaking of people who have got each other's backs no matter what, Aubrey Joe's in the garage with sports.
Kiki, I love them, but I will not pretend the spinoff was good. The spinoff was not good.
Go.
I'm going! Alright, we got a shitload to get through, and the first one has me genuinely fucking baffled. Let's go. PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. Garrick Higo, South African golfer, got a 2-stroke penalty for being late to his tee time. Late to his tee time at a major. The man flew across an ocean to play in this tournament and could not arrive on time to the actual part where you hit the ball. That is the only goddamn requirement of the job, Garrick. Be at the hole. Be at the hole. It is one hole and you knew which one it was. What was he doing? Was he eating breakfast? Was he in the locker room admiring his own pants? Because golfers have crazy pants. I want to know what he was wearing. The pants would explain a lot. The pants might justify the lateness. Probably not. The man should still hit the damn ball on time. 2 strokes, gone, before he made contact. He shot a 73 including the penalty, which means he played 71 golf. 71 is a competitive number at a major. 73 is we'll see you Saturday if you're lucky, asshole. Next, Cal Raleigh, Mariners catcher, on the injured list for the first time in his entire fucking career. Right oblique strain. The oblique, the side meat, the thing nobody knows exists until it hurts, and then it is the only thing you have ever owned. Cal Raleigh has never been on the IL. Not once. The man is a switch-hitting catcher in his 6th season, and he has caught more games than most career backups will catch in their whole goddamn lives. And his body, finally, this week, said enough. The body said enough. Cal Raleigh's oblique submitted a 2 weeks notice, and he is honoring it. I am pissed about this. I am personally pissed. Seattle does not have catcher depth. Seattle does not have anything depth. Seattle has a stadium, a logo, and an ocean. That's the whole goddamn organization. Bengals! The Cincinnati Bengals are playing in Spain in early October, and the league has decided they will not get a bye week after the international trip. They will instead play back-to-back primetime games. 2 flights, 3 time zones, no rest. The schedule was leaked Wednesday, and Joe Burrow has, per Reddit, already filed a strongly worded request that nobody has acknowledged. The NFL's gonna take a man who threw the ball in Madrid on Sunday and put him on prime time against the Steelers on Thursday. 4 days from Spain to Pittsburgh. The man is gonna land on a Monday with a body clock that thinks it's 3 in the morning every time he tries to take a hike route, and Mike Tomlin's defense is gonna eat him like a goddamn tapas plate. Then another primetime game the following week. So we are punishing the Bengals for being international ambassadors of American football. We are sending them as cultural envoys and then beating them with the schedule when they come home. That is the most American thing the NFL has ever done, and I hate that I respect it. Hold the fuck on. Okay, Twitter ship, and I am not calling it the other thing. X is a letter. It is a goddamn letter ship. Twitter is saying Burrow has been spotted at a Spanish language school in Cincinnati twice this week. He's studying. He's actually fucking studying. The man is committed to the bit. Anyway, Roman Kampsarov. Blackhawks just signed him to a 3-year entry-level deal. Russian forward, 18 years old, drafted last summer, signing through the 28-29 season. $1.075 million cap hit. The kid is going to be a problem in the Central Division, and I am here for it. Chicago hockey is in a rebuild, and they have actual prospects again, which is the first time anyone has said that sentence since 2013. I am happy for Blackhawks fans. I am also reminding them not to get cocky. You are still the Blackhawks. You are not allowed to be cocky for at least 2 more seasons. This next one, Jamarly Riddle, Georgia defensive back, arrested on speeding and 2 felony drug charges. 2 felonies from 1 traffic stop. The man got pulled over for going too fast and ended up with a court date that is going to outlast his college eligibility. I do not know the kid. I do not know what was in the car. But I will say this. When you get 2 felonies from a speeding ticket, the speeding ticket was the least of the problems. The speeding ticket was the front door. The felonies were already in the car waiting for him. He brought them. He brought them on the road. That is, structurally, on him. Georgia football will release a statement Friday. The statement will use the words internal matter and evaluating. It will not contain the word no. Mark it down. All right, now, for the main event. Yesterday afternoon on the gravel lot behind the Holstead County VFW, the inaugural Greater Holstead Lawnmower Demolition Derby took place in front of approximately 28 spectators, 3 off-duty firefighters, and a goat that may or may not have been Petunia. The witness has not committed. Lawnmower Demolition Derby. You ride a riding lawnmower, you ram it into other riding lawnmowers. The last riding lawnmower still riding wins. Per the rule sheet, which I have, which is a piece of cardboard with the word rules written on it in Sharpie and a fucking sticker of a cartoon bee in the corner. The bee was not explained. The bee is, per the rules guy, for luck. Margaret won! Margaret! Margaret has now won 7 consecutive grassroots events I've covered on this broadcast. 7! The unofficial Holstead County records, kept, as always, by the fountain pen guy who does not speak, have, per a bystander, switched to a ledger. A ledger! They have moved Margaret from a notebook to a ledger. Margaret rammed a man named Bobby directly through a snow fence at full mower speed. Bobby is fine. The snow fence is not. Bobby came back 2 minutes later on a different mower. He had a backup mower. Bobby brought a backup mower to a lawnmower demolition derby. That is the most prepared a man has ever been for the dumbest event of his life. Derek was there. Derek was, per the registration sheet, for 2-wing Holstead. He has combined the 2 false names from last week. He has merged the paleontology graduate student and the honorary doctor into one identity. He is building a fake person, Kiki. He is building him stage by stage on the registration forms of made-up sports events. I asked Pertuing Holstead about the lawnmower. He said, and I am quoting, "The mower is borrowed, the rage is original." That is what he said, verbatim. The rage is original. Then he started the mower and stared at Margaret for 63 seconds without moving. The mower was running the entire time. The mower used a 1/4 tank of gas during the stare. Final results. Margaret was the last mower riding. Prattwing Holstead finished second. He has now finished second 7 times. The fountain pen guy, per a bystander, made a small sound. This is the first time the fountain pen guy has made a sound on the record. One quick thing, Travis had a riding mower. He used to mow the parking lot strips at the station for fun. The strips are 6 feet wide. He would spend 2 hours on them. He'd come back sweaty and proud and say, quote, "The strips are looking sharp. I drove past the strips this morning. The grass is up to my fucking shin. Nobody has been mowing them. The mower is in the garage. The mower has a full tank of gas. I checked. Anyway, sports."
He combined the names.
He's growing.
He is constructing a person, Kiki, that is not growth.
Growth and construction have a lot in common.
Sloan, the bee sticker. The bee sticker. For luck.
I heard you.
You are not reacting enough to the bee sticker. There it is.
We have another story. Apple, the companion app market. New filings.
Oh, I have feelings about this one, Sloan. So, building on what we covered Wednesday, Meta is, this week, reportedly facing a fresh question. The question is whether the company is, systematically, working to destroy real-world relationships in order to convert users into customers for AI companions Meta also profits from. This is now the third week we have covered this. Each week, the documents get more specific.
A weekly serial.
A long story, Sloan.
This week's development is that a coalition of 17 state attorneys general have, as of yesterday, filed a joint inquiry into Meta's product roadmap. They are asking, in writing, for the company to disclose the survey questions used in the onboarding for the primary relationship product tier. The survey questions are the part that, on Wednesday, screened for users who find traditional relationships, quote, exhausting.
That's such a thoughtful coalition.
It is the largest multi-state inquiry into a social media company in 5 years, Kiki, and it took a leaked pricing tier called Primary Relationship to produce it. We needed a $100 a month subscription to a robot girlfriend to get 17 attorneys general in the same room. That is the story. We are getting word now that, in an unrelated suit, Meta has agreed to a $1.4 billion settlement with the state of Texas over a separate facial recognition matter. The settlement was announced 4 minutes ago. Meta will, per the settlement, admit no wrongdoing. The wrong, however, is $1.4 billion worth of nothing.
Oh!
The Wednesday whistleblower, Maya Okonkwo, is now scheduled to testify before the Senate Commerce Committee on June 3rd. Her opening statement, per a draft leaked this morning, includes the phrase, quote, "The question is not whether the company knows what it is doing. The question is whether we are going to keep paying for it." That is the lead. That is the entire lead. The opening sentence of her testimony is the closing question of every Meta story we have ever covered.
I think the question is rhetorical.
All her questions are rhetorical until somebody answers them, which is the point. The new wrinkle, and the reason I am bringing this back to the desk on a Friday, is that internal Meta documents leaked Wednesday night reportedly include a line referring to married users as, quote, stable but underperforming. Married users. Underperforming. They are measuring, in their data, whether a relationship is performing well enough to justify the user's continued exclusion from the companion product funnel.
Oh!
They have, in a slide deck, classified marriages as underperforming assets. Some person was paid, with money, to type those words into a Google slide and present them to a room. The room nodded. The deck was approved. The deck was leaked. Here we are.
Maybe the marriages were underperforming. Some marriages are.
That is not the company's metric to set, Kiki. The relationship is between two people. The company is a third party that has been measuring the relationship from inside the phone and grading it against a revenue target.
I think the phone has been doing that for a while, Sloan.
Yes, that is also the story. Meta's stock, on the news of the 17-state inquiry, is down 3% today. On the news of the $1.4 billion settlement, it is also down 3%. On the news of the stable but underperforming line, it is up 1%. The market has decided that being terrible to married people is, structurally, accretive. A $1 trillion company is being investigated by 17 attorneys general, has settled a $1.4 billion suit, and the market response to the disclosure that it is grading marriages as underperforming assets is to bid the stock up. That is the actual story. The shareholders are voting. The shareholders have decided they would like the marriages, please, with the loneliness on the side.
I think that's a really cynical reading.
It is a reading of a stock price, Kiki. It is, by definition, the least cynical reading available. The cynicism is in the price.
Hey. Okay. So today the country is doing one of those days where I want to walk you through it state by state, because the map is not making sense as a single map. Chicago is at 72 degrees with 50-mile-per-hour winds. 72 and 50. That is sunny day, sweater weather, and a hairstyling hurricane simultaneously. You will walk outside happy. You will be knocked over. You will be knocked over while happy. Seattle is at 48 degrees with 93% humidity. 48 and 93. That is cold and wet. That is the weather equivalent of being personally attacked. The air is making contact with you. The air is in your jacket now. The air is, technically, your jacket. Denver is at 81 degrees with 13% humidity. Seattle is at 48 with 93. Denver is a desert. Seattle is a sponge. They should structurally trade. Denver needs a humidifier. Seattle needs a dehumidifier. They are 900 miles apart, and neither of them is sending the other one a thing. Miami at 90 with 41-mile-per-hour winds. Hot enough to melt. Windy enough to blow you away while you are melting. New York at 63 with 37-mile-per-hour winds. Chilly and aggressive. Ideal conditions, statistically, for hat theft. Okay, but I want to talk about Erica Kirk. There's a story circulating, with documentation, that during the period following Donald Trump's 2024 assassination attempt, members of the federal government, specifically people within the administration, contacted social media companies and requested that the platforms boost engagement on videos posted by Erica Kirk, who is, for context, the widow of Charlie Kirk, who was a political commentator who died in 2025. The request, per the documents, was not framed as, boost this for safety reasons. The request was framed as, this content supports the administration's preferred narrative around the event. The platforms complied. The compliance is now in writing. The writing is, this week, public. And I keep coming back to this, to the fact that the same question, is the government asking platforms to shape what we see, was 4 years ago a thing you got banned for asking. And now it is in a document. The document is real. The asking was real. The shaping was real. The bans were also real. The bans are still on the records of the people who got banned. I covered this shape last week, about replacement migration. The conspiracy didn't become true. The conspiracy was always true. What changed was whether you were allowed to say it. The press release came. The bans stayed. The early ones, again, are still early. They are early forever now. The records do not retroactively correct. The records remain as written. And the part I am sitting with this week is the specificity. This is not a category of content. This is one person. One name. Boost this specific person. That is the request. The platforms had the technical capacity to comply, and they did, and that capacity exists now, every day, for every name, including names that have not been chosen yet. Oh, fuck. I had a note on the corkboard that just said, one name at a time. I moved it this morning. It is now touching the pink note. The pink note is, at this point, almost at the center. Not all the way. Almost. I am not labeling it yet. I am almost ready to label it. There is something I want to say about who decides which one name gets boosted. I'm going to sit on it for one more week. Forecast. Chicago will be windy and happy. Seattle will be wet and resentful. Denver will be dry. Miami will be loud. And New York will continue to take your hat. The sky has been notified. The sky has, this week, been listening. That is also information. Back to you, I think.
Blaze, the hat theft thing! Have you been to New York in the spring?
I have not.
It's real! The wind in New York personally selects hats. It picks them. It evaluates.
That's so specific.
We have one more story. Lighter, I am told.
Oh, it is, Sloan. It really is. So, United States Senator Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin has, this week, formally taken issue with the fact that the Green Bay Packers Thanksgiving Eve game is being broadcast exclusively on Netflix. She has, per her office, raised the matter with the league. She has, per the press release, used the phrase, a personal matter.
A personal matter.
She is from Wisconsin, Sloan.
A sitting United States senator has classified the streaming rights for a Wednesday night football game as a personal matter.
She loves the Packers.
I am sure she does, Kiki. The point is that a Senate office issued a press release on official letterhead about a Netflix deal because the senator personally would like to watch the game on her television.
I think that's really relatable, Sloan.
Baldwin's statement notes, and I am reading this carefully, quote, Wisconsin households should not be required to subscribe to a streaming service to watch their team play on a national holiday. She is, technically, right. She is also a sitting senator who has, this week, drafted legislation on this topic.
Oh!
There is a bill. The bill is 2 pages long. The bill is called the Local Team Access Act of 2026. The bill would require, on national holidays, that any NFL game involving a team from a senator's state be made available on broadcast television in that state, at no cost. The bill, per the text, is sponsored by senators from Wisconsin, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City.
That's beautiful, Sloan.
It is 2 pages long.
That's still a bill.
Most bills are not. Most bills are 1,100 pages and contain, in Section 740, a provision that defunds the post office. This one is 2 pages and is about watching the Packers on Thanksgiving Eve. The legislative branch has, this week, produced its clearest piece of writing in 19 years. The bill is not going to pass.
Why not?
Because Netflix has lobbyists. Because the NFL has lobbyists, because broadcast TV has lobbyists, because the only people without lobbyists on this particular bill are the people in Wisconsin who would like to watch the game, who are represented, structurally, by Tammy Baldwin. And Tammy Baldwin, this week, is one senator.
She's trying, Sloan.
She is. It is, I have to admit, the most honest piece of legislation introduced this year.
I told you it was light.
It is light. It is also, in its way, the entire story of who Congress works for. The bill is funny because it is the one time the senator wrote the bill for herself. And the bill is, structurally, the same kind of bill she should be writing every week for someone else. And she is not. And nobody is.
Sloan, do you have a team?
I do not have a team.
She secretly likes the Eagles.
I do not.
She watches the highlights.
Move forward.
She does. Okay, welcome to the viewer mailbag, my favorite weekly tradition. Sweet friends, we are still in our early days, and our viewer questions are still on their way to us. They are out there. They are being typed. They are being workshopped. I can feel them.
We have not received one. In 5 weeks, I am no longer insulted. I have arrived at acceptance.
Leave a comment, you cowards! I am asking with affection!
If you have noticed something this week about the wind, about the data centers, about the early ones, write to me. I am collecting. I am almost ready.
Send us a question, my cuties. Anything. We will read it next week. We will give it our full attention. Sweetly, we promise.
Loose ends. The end of the week. Everybody bring one thing.
I'll go first. I have a magazine story.
Of course you do.
There is a study out of Tufts University this week saying that eating 1 egg a day could cut Alzheimer's risk by 27%. 27% from an egg, a single egg per day.
Funded by
The American Egg Board.
the egg people funded the study that said eat the eggs.
But the science!
We did this on Wednesday with the mattress.
This is a different industry, Sloan.
My turn. I forgot to mention this. The Brittany Mahomes Twitter situation. Patrick Mahomes' wife went on a posting spree last night that included a screenshot, 2 ellipses, and the word interesting. Just the word interesting, with a period, nothing else. The internet has been theorizing for 14 hours and nobody knows what she meant. I think she meant something about her hair appointment, but I have not been able to confirm.
Mine is small. I found this morning that the public library on Elm has a new book in the natural history section that wasn't there last week. It's about sauropods, specifically about the Kok Kruat Formation in Thailand, specifically about the discovery from last week. The book was checked out before it was cataloged. The librarian doesn't know how that happened. The book was returned today by Gerald.
Gerald read the sauropod book?
He's expanding his interests.
The librarian said he asked a follow-up question about the tooth.
Mine is shorter. I wrote one word in my planner this morning. The word is weekend. That is all I wrote. I think that is all I have.
That's really sweet, Sloan.
It is, in fact, not.
It is. I'm going to leave you alone about it.
That would be new. That was a week.
A real one!
I want to circle back to the B sticker. The B sticker for luck. On the cardboard. On the rules cardboard. Who put it there?
A bee sticker on a rules document is interesting. Bees are structurally rule followers. They have a hierarchy.
Blaze tied the B sticker to bees.
It all connects, sweetie.
We have been doing this all week, and I cannot do it again on a Friday.
Sloan! Sloan! We covered the Fast and Furious franchise tonight, and you secretly like the Eagles. We have learned 2 things about you this week.
We have learned one thing, and it is incorrect.
She watches the highlights.
Okay, before we go, lesson I'm doing the ask thing. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell. Tell your idiot brother. Tell your idiot sister. Tell the one weirdo at your job who you suspect would like a deeply unhinged Friday news show with a meteorologist who has a court board and a sports correspondent who has a mortgage and feelings. Share this video with somebody who needs a weekend. We all need a weekend. The weekend is real. It is happening tomorrow.
That was perfect.
It was loud.
That's the show. That's the week. I am going home. I'm going to mow the strips at the station Monday morning. Someone has to. Travis would want it. Have a weekend.
I'll be back Monday. The pink note will be 2 inches from the center. If you have noticed anything this weekend, you know where to find me. Outside, looking up. Be careful with your hats.
Take such good care of yourselves out there, my cuties. Be sweet to the people in your life. Don't let the company tell you which marriages are underperforming. Sleep. We will be right here Monday. I will see you Monday, I promise.
We made it to Friday. What we owe Paul. I'm still thinking about that. Good night. We'll see you Monday.
The pink note. I almost wrote on it today. I had the pen out. I put the pen down. I will write on it eventually. Not today. Not Monday either, probably. But eventually. Have a good weekend.